It was yet another landmark day in the country's history as the parliament endorsed the country's revised political and administrative map. The onus is now on the government of both Nepal and India to resolve the issue of border dispute at the earliest. Politics apart, COVID-19 continues its surge in the country, taking the infection tally past 5,000. Good morning, I'm Amar Singh Pradhan and these are the headlines of the hour. Parliament endorses the complete map of Nepal, including Limpiadhura, with unanimous support of all political parties. Revised map to be incorporated in the national emblem after upper house approval. Political parties exhibit profound unity in safeguarding national territory, urges government to return the encroached land through diplomatic dialogues with India. Additional 337 individuals tested positive for coronavirus in Nepal yesterday, taking the national tally of infections to 5,400. Atlanta's police chief resigns after the fatal shooting of an African American who had fallen asleep in his car and ensuing struggle. The meeting of the House of Representatives has unanimously endorsed the Constitution Amendment Bill with 258 votes aimed at incorporating the revised complete map of Nepal, including Limpiadhura, in the national emblem. In the House proceedings yesterday, all the political parties in the House of Representatives came together for charter amendment to officially incorporate the complete political and administrative map of Nepal. The amendment bill was endorsed after formal procedures of voting through signatures of the participating lawmakers. At the meeting of the House of Representatives held on 9th of June, all the political parties representing the Parliament had expressed commitment to vote in favor of Constitution amendment. Meanwhile, the parties have also suggested that the government should move ahead with further effective initiatives to do away with the Indian encroachment of the Nepalese territory. The Constitution Amendment Bill will now need to be endorsed by the National Assembly, which will be followed by customary certification by the President. The meeting of the National Assembly has been slated for today. 16 among the total 275 lawmakers, however, refrained in yesterday's meeting. All the political parties represented in the Parliament expressed commitment to move ahead by maintaining national unity in an effort to do away with the Indian encroachment of Nepalese territory while undergoing clause-wise discussion over the Constitution Amendment Bill presented at the House of Representatives yesterday. Even the opposition parties have pledged to support the government without any precondition in its effort to preserve the national border. The parties have, however, urged the government to constantly engage in removing the Indian occupancy of the Nepalese territory. Speaking at the meeting of the House of Representatives yesterday, Executive Chairman of the ruling Nepal Communist Party, Pushpa Kamal Dahal, said that the border dispute should be resolved once and for all by holding a decisive dialogue with India. Dahal said that the government's initiative was not intended to put India in trouble, but hoped that the government of India would positively embrace the Nepalese sentiments regarding the border issue. He said that although Nepal had always wanted to resolve the border dispute through dialogues, the unilateral move of the Indian government of illustrating Nepalese land in its political map compelled Nepal to move ahead with the parliamentary approval. Sher Bahadur Deuba, president of main opposition Nepali Congress, also clarified that there was no dispute on Limpiadhura being Nepal's territory and stressed on the need of unified national effort to fight against encroachment. The lawmakers of Janata Samajwadi Party also expressed their solidarity towards the government's move, citing that they would never go against national and geographical integrity of Nepal. Lawmakers of a number of other political parties also stated that it's unjustifiable on the part of the Indian government to seek Nepal's initiative in forging the atmosphere for talks on the border dispute after unilaterally encroaching the Nepalese land. Meanwhile, the political parties have exhibited solidarity in Constitution Amendment aimed at safeguarding national territory. The kind of unity that was seen yesterday was even lacking during the promulgation of the Constitution. This has significantly helped boost the government's morale to hold diplomatic dialogues with India to resolve the border dispute. Even the parties who had protested federalism and secularism have supported the government in the issue of border encroachment. This has given a strong message to the international community, and the entire country is unified in a bid to return and safeguard the encroached territory. Analysts are of the view that a series of unilateral moves by India on infringing on Nepalese lands have compelled all the political parties in the country to unite against Indian hegemony. This has also provided a very strong mandate to the government and Prime Minister K.P. Sharma Oli to take further initiatives in retrieving the encroached national territory. India has said that the endorsement of the Constitution Amendment Bill by the House of Representatives has violated the understanding to hold dialogue between the two countries on the issue of border dispute. Issuing a press statement yesterday, Ministry of External Affairs has expressed its strong reservation and said that the Indian government has noted the endorsement of Constitution Amendment Bill by the Parliament. India has claimed that the updated map of Nepal, including what it said disputed land, is not based on historical fact and evidence, and added that the recent development has disrupted the understanding between the two nations to hold talks on border issue. Meanwhile, Indian Army Chief General M.M. Narawane has softened his posture over Nepal's stand on the Indian border encroachment issue. He had earlier alleged that Nepal's protest against the unilateral construction of road link by India on Nepalese territory at Lipu Lake as an influence of a third party. Responding to a query regarding the recent Nepal-India border dispute amid a program held by Indian Army Academy in Dehradun yesterday, the Indian Army Chief stated that Nepal and India shared a very close bilateral relations and that the goodwill relations would continue in the coming days as well. He said that there has been a warm relation between the peoples of Nepal and India with regard to geographical, cultural and historical aspects of both the countries. Earlier, hinting at China, Indian Army Chief Narawane had stated that there was never a border dispute between Nepal and India and termed that Nepal protested against encroachment of Lipu Lake by India at the behest of a third party. Nepal earlier had also strongly objected to the remark made by the Indian Army Chief. Additional 337 individuals tested positive for the novel coronavirus in Nepal yesterday, taking the total number of infections in the country to 5,400, with 72 districts affected by the novel coronavirus. More than 4,000 individuals have tested positive for the virus in the country in the past 15 days. The death toll stands at 18 as 2 more individuals were confirmed with the virus yesterday after their death. A 5-year-old from Nisgat Bara succumbed to the virus while undergoing treatment at a hospital in Birgunj, and COVID-19 test result of another disease from Birgunj itself also came positive. Over 150,549 are in quarantine across the country, while more than 4,404 are currently in isolation. 36 COVID-19 patients registered full recovery yesterday and were discharged from various isolation centers and hospitals. With this, the total number of recoveries stand at 913, including 822 males and 91 females. Demonstrations were held across the country yesterday as well in a bid to pressure the government to expand the parameters of coronavirus testing and demanding proper management of quarantine facilities. The demonstrators have also demanded details of government expenses on containing COVID-19, which has been put at billions of rupees. Youths have spontaneously taken out to the streets for protest in the capital alongside Jhapa, Bara and Sinduli, among other districts. The demonstrators have called for expediting PCR tests for coronavirus infection and stop the testing via RDT method, which has been termed ineffective by the World Health Organization. The demonstrators at many places, however, were found not adhering to the rule of physical distancing that is crucial to contain the spread of coronavirus. Although it is prohibited to organize demonstrations and mass gatherings during the current nationwide lockdown, police largely refrained from interfering in yesterday's protest. The government has unveiled the details of expenses of around 8.39 billion rupees, which the government said incurred to contain the coronavirus outbreak in Nepal. The government has made the details public after mounting pressure and criticism from the public. The COVID-19 Crisis Management Center unveiled the expenditure details yesterday after youths around the country spontaneously hit the streets demanding specifics of the expenses. According to the details, the central government spent 4.15 billion for the crisis management, while provincial government spent the total of 1.3 billion rupees and 2.98 billion rupees had been spent by the local governments. Likewise, according to the government, 3.9 billion rupees was spent for medicines and medical equipment, 1.12 billion rupees for health infrastructures, 130.5 million rupees for quarantine management, 50.3 million rupees for mobilization of human resources, and around 400 million rupees for other purposes. Meanwhile, according to the center, 4.83 billion rupees has so far been collected in the relief fund established to contain the novel coronavirus pandemic in the country. And now time for our segment Public Pulse, where it texts us with their opinion.
Public Pulse.
And here's your question: what's necessary to keep political appointments free of controversies? Your options are: option A, open competition; option B, priority to expertise; and option C, fair appointment process. The voting is on. Type in AWS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Stay with us for more news and entertainment on KTVSD. Stay safe and have a great day ahead.